Hello and welcome. This will be the third video in a series that I'm doing on Medieval Dynasty on how I go about laying out my village and how I go about doing it and getting into the different stages. This video is mainly going to be about, hopefully, but I'm like a magpie, but hopefully it's going to be about how I lay out fields and things like that for crops and all that kind of stuff. Because over there, I've touched it briefly, which is orchard over there, where I've got hops growing, and pears, cherries, peaches, and apples growing over there. Because you need to get them down early, because they take forever to fucking grow. And so yeah, so this one's going to be mainly about laying out where I'm going to put my fields. This is the most tricky part for village design, because you need to make sure that you know where you're gonna put your buildings, because your buildings will soon increase the amount of houses you've got and then other bits and pieces coming into it. So now I'm gonna have to start looking at how I'm actually going to lay it out, because this bit over here is fine, because this is where I've got my wood cutters. I've got 2 wood cutters over there. I've also got a herbalist and a hunting shed. I've got an idea of where I want to put things. But on this river I'm going to be putting down a fishery here at some stage. And then it's a matter of figuring out where I'm going to start putting barns. Because as your village expands, I've got the setting checked that I can use resources straight from the resources shed without having them in my inventory. But there is a range to it. So if I try and build over there, I can't, because it's out of the range. Because when you build fields as well, you can't orientate them how you'd want to. So I can't have them pointing up that way. They only ever point fucking east to west or north to south. There's no choosing which way. Now, let's get this field down. I want to leave enough space, because I will be putting walls and things like that around at a later date. Because I will try and tart it up a little bit. I usually do 10 by 10. So I'll have one field 10 by 10, and I'll have another field that's 10 by 10. Right, so that's that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly grub this up. I will be back shortly. Okay then. Right, I've grubbed up 2 fields. They're both 10 by 10s. The season's also changed, because I worked through the night, and I've also done a few other things. I had to head into town to pick up a few bits, some seeds, some fertiliser and shit like that. Because it's autumn time, I mainly run 2 crops in the beginning. In the springtime, it's flax, because you need that for making linen and all that kind of stuff. You plant it in the spring, and then you reap it in the autumn. And then in the autumn, what I do with these fields is I then plant rye seeds, and they grow through the winter, and then they're harvested in the spring. So you can literally just keep rotating the fields. The reason why I grow rye is because it's the simple thing that you can make you some money, is rye bread. As I said, it sells, it's really cheap stuff, it's easy to make. You can get a shitload of fucking rye in order to make the bread. And then what I do, then I set up like the trade stalls in my village and have 2 people running them. In order to get their level up, you just have them constantly selling rye bread. In the beginning, you do make a loss for the first few seasons, because you got to get their level up. As soon as their level gets above 5 to 6, you actually start making a profit. And then when you get their level up above like the 6, 7, 8 sort of time, that's when you can start getting them to sell equipment like your axes, your hatchets, armor, swords, all that kind of stuff, and you will actually start making a profit. So because it's autumn time, I'm going to be planting some rye, and obviously it's a bit time consuming, because you have to grub the field first, and then you have to fertilise it, then you have to plough the field once you've fertilised it. So it does take a bit of time to do, and then it's plant the seeds on top of that. So it's very, very time consuming. Once I've done this, I'll do the first lot myself, and then what I do is I then set up the management of the fields, and then I get people to start working the fields for me. So then they automatically do it. So they'll automatically seed it, plough it, all that kind of stuff, so you don't have to. If you're going to get your villagers to do it, especially with 2 fields of 10 by 10, it is worth having them, having the seasonal change. I think you have 5 days instead of a change in season. That way it gives them plenty of time to harvest the fields and then grub it, then refertilise it, then plough it and then reseed. Because if you do it with just 3 days, it can be a bit tricky. They might not be able to get it all done in time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fertilise, plough and then plant the seeds. So I shall be back with you shortly. Alright then, okay. I am back. I've seeded these fields. Well, a field and a half. I run out of fucking rye grain. But halfway across this field. That's not an issue. Because once you harvest this field and that field in the spring, you'll end up with like fucking 5,000 rye grains anyway, so you get quite a lot of grain out of it. That's why I use a small portion of it to make flour, and then the rest of it you just use to you put some aside, obviously. Put 200 aside so you can reseed both of them. But with that, what I'd say is I put 200 rye grains in my own box, in my own house. That way they do not get used accidentally. And then the rest is then used to make a little bit of flour, and then use the rest of the rye grains to make the bread. Then all you got to do is just start selling it. So it makes it easier for buying other things that you want, because you can make one harvest of both fields. You could probably make 600-700 loaves of bread. And I think they sell for like 5 groschen each. So you can make a fair amount of money from it. Because what I normally do is I'll have some bronze pickaxes to sell. You just sell 2 pickaxes and then you sell the rest in bread. Take it all and then you buy what you need. And then you sell everything. Then you sell more pickaxes and more rye bread to them to empty out. That's why at the moment I'm sitting at 4,800 coins. Because all I did was sell them some fucking bronze pickaxes. But the beauty of it is when you can then snowball that, because you can then buy copper ore. So you could sell 20 bronze pickaxes, make a shitload of money, and still make a profit even buying more copper ore and more tin. So you can then refine them into bronze again and then make more bronze stuff, and then you can go around all the different villages and just sell everything. And that's how you can get a lot of coins. You can buy whatever you need. But the plan now is, because I've got these seeded, now it's to actually start setting up the farmers, because you're going to need a barn, because that's where you'll do all your threshing, and you've got your mill there as well, so you can grind flour out of the grains. So what I need to do is I need to set up some houses. I'm going to start moving some of these properties out of the way, and what I'll do is I'll set up a barn. What I usually like to do is I'll wall off this area, make a little enclave that's got the barn in it. It'll also have 2 houses, and it'll also have the farmer's hut. So that way those people that are dedicated just for the farming. That way haven't got very far to go to the fields, and then they can just crack on. And all you need to make sure is in the farming hut, then all you need to do is make sure it's got simple bags in there, or cotton bags, whichever you want, a couple of hoes and a couple of scythes. Once you've done that, you can then start managing the fields and actually set up the crop rotations. But once they've harvested it all, one thing I will say though, is until you can get a farmer up to like level 7 or 8, do all the threshing yourself. It doesn't take long to do, but if you thresh it yourself, you are more likely to get more grains out of the threshing than you do with the villagers until they get their level up. What I'm going to do now is I am going to build my little enclave with the barn, the houses, and get it ready. I've already got 2 farmers ready. I picked them up when I went to the village earlier. So I'm going to get it all set up, and then you shall see what the end product will look like for my little farming area. So once I've got that done, I shall see you shortly. Right then, and I'm back. Right, so I have finished building my little field area. So this is pretty much what the finished product will look like within reason, because I've got the DLC where I can add hedges and things like that, so I'll do that when I find the exotic trader. see about getting hedges. But here we are. See, I've walled off the fields. So you've got 2 fields here with a gap in the middle, so the workers can get between both fields. Here is the farm shed. I've already put tools inside, so you need to put hoes in, scythe and simple bags. Here's the barn. It's a bit annoying because you can't block this back off though. And I have got the building over here, which will be for my farmhands. I've already labelled it fields, so I know to get new villagers. I know that I need to select ones that are good at farming and then send them to this house. And then it'll be a matter of assigning them to this. Alright, now what I tend to do now, because I'm going to be getting people to actually work the fields for me, what you need to do is you go to management, go across to the fields. Right, and now you've got field 1. Alright, so in the spring I need to change the plant type and I need to change it to flax. For the summer, what I can do is then I can add something that I can sow and then harvest in the autumn. So I'm pretty much limited to cabbages, so I need to buy like some cabbage seeds, and then it's autumn for rye, so that's now set to rye. So now that is set up for harvesting and then for fertilising and then planting flax. And then this one again will be set for replanting. So that's that field done, so that's field 1 done. Field 2, I need to do the same. So those 2 fields are now set. So what will happen now is when I get the workers, I just assign them to here, and then what they will do is they will then automatically start fucking about with these fields. Farm shed, I can have 4 people in the farm shed. And what I might do is I might be able to squeeze another house in there, and then I can have all the farmers just working and living in this area. It'll make it slightly more efficient because they live here. It's literally bang straight out into the fields. This is pretty much done, but what I'll probably do is when I find the hedgerows and all that kind of stuff, I'll probably replace this wattle with hedgerows. So now this is pretty much how I set this farming section up, because what I'm going to do next, what I'll probably do is I will clear this area out. I'll get rid of all these trees, and then it's going to be a matter of putting in cattle fields, so I'll start get cows so I can get milk and all that kind of stuff, and then sheep, pigs, because pigs are good for manure, same as the cows are good for producing manure. And then you'll assign someone to the barn, and then what you can get them to do is just constantly make manure. They'll spend a lot of time lounging around, and you'll find that you'll get more fucking notifications that your guy isn't working or it's run out of resources. That's it for this bit. The next video will be based around putting in cattle and livestock and getting all that sorted out. And then I'll actually start properly placing everything to create my small little village. This is the one I wait to do first before I start doing everything else, because this one you need quite a lot of space for the fields. So what I can also do as well is if I want to increase the field size, I can then just put another field at the back here. So I can run it through the back of this orchard and then put another field at the back if I wanted to. So if I want to start growing wheat as well to make multi-grain breads, and because what I also like to do is I like to make flour using wheat, so I can put a third field in and then have that solely for wheat. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, the next one's going to be on doing all the animal husbandry side of it. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. It always helps out the channel, because I want to try and grow this channel. If you got any questions or anything like that, please leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.